Welcome to the Cool Fireman Podcast, a virtual firehouse kitchen table with Matt, Adam, Brian, Doug, and Freddie, where they discuss everything that matters in today's fire service. Now let's get to the show.
Detroit.
All right, perfect. I'm done waiting for that's a perfect segue. Brian's not here. And Doug will probably pop in here at some moment, but we'll just get started. It's after 5 o'clock on our end here. Scott, finally have a West Coaster. I literally live by East Coast time because all these guys live on 3 hours ahead of me. So I'll wake up to about 20 text messages that came in about 3:30 in the morning. So.
But mine are good morning and let's get our day started. Let's get pumped up videos, right?
No, they're not. No.
They're of him sitting on the toilet.
That's where I do my best motivation.
That's right. That's where he does all of his best stuff, right there on the toilet. But hey, welcome back to the Cool Fireman Podcast. Today we've got Matt, Doug is going to be here, Adam's here, Freddie, and we have a special guest. I'm going to announce him as retired Captain Scott Jennie, who is the National Training Program Manager and California State Director at the Firefighter Cancer Support Network.
Genuflect appropriately.
That is, and I'm letting Doug in. And that's a mouthful. So I want to hear all about it. I want to, dive into, this is going to be our main topic for the podcast episode, is talking to Scott about what he does as a National Training Program Manager and California State Director of the Firefighter Cancer Support Network. Try to say that 5 times fast. I'm really interested to kind of hear about your transition from the floor to that position, and what is going on in the nation fighting cancer for firefighters. But
is your business card actually a piece of paper just to fit everything in there?
It should be.
Yeah, right. It's a very large business card. Yes, very large one. 8.5 by 11. All right, so some housekeeping.
Folks, it's time for housekeeping.
So Patreon is still up. Thank you, Social FD. We have another paid subscriber. So a lot of fun stuff that we've been doing on Patreon. It's actually kind of surprised me. I know we started it to, put our reach more out there in social media land for the podcast. And I've actually kind of surprised. That has surprised me about how well it's going. So we're super excited about that. Josh Bandy, Stephen Weber, of course, and Social FD for supporting the podcast in that manner. We always know when Doug is here because the most noise is being made. Doug, that's Scott. Scott, Doug.
Pleasure.
Hi, Doug. How are you?
Oh, he's getting himself a lipper.
I'm not the guy these guys think I am.
That's not a lipper. He wouldn't put a lipper in on an episode where we're talking about cancer. All right, merch. So we have new merch. So the what you call it? Here it is. Here's one of them. Little Cracker Barrel, the Cool Fireman Podcast logo. I would turn around, but I'll probably yank my microphone right out of my computer. So we'll stay away from that. But so we have a new merch store, and it's chock full of goodies, and there'll be more added. But we've got hoodies, T-shirts, hats. I don't know what else. Something else. And we have a little promo going. So if you're listening to this podcast and you put in episode 144, you can earn yourself 15% off. 15% off, lads. I mean, come on now. What are you going to do with all that savings? All right, sponsors. Unky's Seasoning, quick promo.
From the firehouse to your house, Unky's Seasoning packs bold, firehouse-tested flavor into every meal. Whether you're grilling, roasting, or just sprinkling it on your favorite snacks, our blends turn everyday eats into unforgettable bites. Pick your flavor, shake it on, and taste why it's Firehouse approved. Go to unkeyseasoning.com.
And Tom from the Burn Box, quick promo.
Brought to you by the Burn Box, the #1 firefighter subscription box. The Burn Box celebrates firefighter products and firefighter-owned and operated businesses. Start today and receive a monthly box of firefighter apparel, gear, and tools. Check them out at theburnbox.com.
Awesome. Okay, boys, we are kind of getting through housekeeping a little quick today because we want to get to our our main guest, Scott, here. But before we do anything, we like to do a moment of silence here at the podcast, Scott. And we had talked about it briefly that on January 15th, David Hendricks of the Crescent VFD in Crescent, Texas, lost his battle to cancer. And we dedicated last week's podcast moment of silence to him. And it's just kind of fitting, it's kind of on the coattails of you, piggybacking off you coming on now, and we're going to be talking about cancer. And I just wanted to kind of reaffirm that we're, honoring him, and we're going to honor everybody that has passed away over the past week. But Freddie, I think you have some specific names, or do you not, from Detroit Fire Department?
Nope. Yeah, I got two local fire department to me. I'm in the Detroit area. Work just outside it. I got a lot of Detroit buddies, but I want to make sure that these guys, their names are said out loud because they did give the ultimate sacrifice. That is Patrick Trout, firefighter, Squad 4, last alarm January 5th, 2026. And Dale Fahum, lieutenant, ladder 22, last alarm January 27th, 2026. And Lieutenant Fahum was battling cancer also. So,
all right. So obviously, Scott knows best, and that's what we're here to do, is continue this conversation about cancer and everything else that's pressing in the fire service. But before we do anything, let's give a quick moment of silence for all those we've lost in the last week from line of duty deaths. All right. Amen and well said. All right, folks. So again, Scott from the Firefighter Cancer Support Network. I'm sure everybody knows the Firefighter Cancer Support Network. They've done a great job at, spreading themselves. You guys have been spreading yourselves across the country, helping people, spreading awareness. The whole gamut. And so we are super excited to have you on. It's now this will be dropping on February 2nd. So we have just passed through January, which has been officially coined the Firefighter Cancer Awareness Month. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Sure is.
Yeah. And I think this was the first year that this was actually dedicated, or was it not? I can't remember.
No, this is our 5th or 6th year now.
Oh, okay. So that's why we're spreading awareness so that we all know this. You know what I mean? So very good. So you are, kind of two titles. Is it kind of synonymous? Do they go together, or do you do two different things with the network?
I wear a couple different hats with the network. First off, let's talk about the network. We're a nationwide nonprofit. Our mission is to support firefighters, EMS workers, their immediate family members with badge-to-badge support, training, and guidance in the event that they're diagnosed with cancer. So my role as California State Director is to handle requests for assistance for any firefighter or their immediate family member that's diagnosed with cancer in the state of California. We are a nationwide nonprofit. We have state directors in every state of our nation, and we're building up into Canada. And the unique thing about us, we're all volunteers. So it's a big organization. It's a big nonprofit. And then as far as my training program manager, I work under a chief education officer where we develop education that we present nationwide at all the different conferences on awareness, best practices that we as firefighters should be doing to reduce the possibility of a cancer diagnosis. And then also I chair the board, or chair the committee, I should say, with the International Association of Firefighters for Firefighter Cancer Awareness Month. So that's what we've been pushing out all month. And we want all firefighters to do a safety stand down during the month of January, just to reflect on what they need to do to protect themselves and what they need to do not only on the job but off the job as far as protecting themselves from any possibility of an occupational cancer diagnosis.
Interesting. So the one thing that you said that kind of rung with me was the family members of the firefighters.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just like a occupational cancer support. if you will.
Right. Even EMS workers and their immediate family members will support. We have free resources that we'll send you free of charge.
Gotcha.
We do two things. We send you what's called a cancer toolbox, and it ships to you for free, and it comes right to your door. It's a big box. It has a number of different items in there to help navigate from diagnosis, treatment, hopefully into recovery. It's a way to organize all the amounts of paperwork, organize your doctors, educational stuff. But we have this manual right here called the Firefighter's Guide to Cancer Survivorship. It's a 230-page manual. It's your SOP, SOG manual that one needs to do or use when they're diagnosed with cancer. And it goes over everything from questions to ask your treatment team. It goes over the science behind occupational cancer in the fire service. And it was written by firefighters who've had a cancer diagnosis and came out on the other side. The second thing that we do is we match you up with a firefighter who's had the same or similar cancer that you're going through. And it's like a badge-to-badge peer support piece. They walk you through everything you need to think about as you're going through the process, from, hey, this durable piece of medical equipment saved my life that they might not tell you about, to, hey, you can expect XYZ through your treatment. This worked for me. No two cancers are the same. But it is a huge psychological support piece, because let's face it, we all have the T-shirt, been there, done that. We're not really good at asking for help for ourselves, because we're all a bunch of type A's, right? Would you agree? But we'll listen to another firefighter. So it's like sitting at your firehouse, sitting at the table of treason, the coffee table, where you bust each other's chops and you solve all the world's problems. And, that's where relationships are fixed and everything goes on because we feel comfortable talking to another firefighter. That's what our mentorship program is built upon. When the nonprofit was born in the LA County Fire Department in 2005 by Michael DeBron, he's a firefighter paramedic for the LA County Fire Department. He started noticing that firefighters within his own agency, we're talking 20 years ago now, were being diagnosed with cancer when he was diagnosed. He was given basically get your affairs in order type diagnosis. Luckily, he got the right treatment, and he's still around today. But he started looking around at his department, and he started noticing, hey, this person has cancer, this person has cancer. And they started networking, they started talking. And that's where that badge-to-badge, survivorship piece was put in place. And through his vision, 20 years later, here we are, and it's a nationwide nonprofit and building up into Canada. So it's a fantastic resource that we want all firefighters to be aware of, because we're here for you. We're here to right the ship in the event you get diagnosed with that horrible, horrible disease.
That is awesome. And Fred, you kind of nailed it. Like, you're like that, that whole piece of that there's somebody there that has experienced it too. When I went through a little health scare, like that's the biggest thing is the unknown. So if you're paired up with a firefighter that's had your same type of cancer, or even just cancer in general, it's just the questions to ask, and it's, and Scott, you have to be your own advocate. It doesn't matter if you have a cancer issue or a heart issue or a brain issue, whatever it may be, or a shoulder issue, it doesn't matter. You have to advocate for yourself.
You do. And that's the tough piece. That's the tough piece that many firefighters don't understand. You really do. It doesn't matter. You can policy the crap out of everything. Doesn't mean it's going to be followed. It boils down to, what is your why? Yeah. Is it your family? Is it walking your daughter down the aisle, or seeing your grandbabies get born, or how, one of the things that were said by Commissioner Finn, the retired commissioner of the Boston Fire Department, he said it perfectly. He said, you don't want to do 30 years in your firehouse to only get 2 years in your beach house. It's about making it to retirement happy and healthy. That's the key. And, when we go out and do our education for any department that asks for it, we do it free of charge. I used to start the classes with, hey, everyone raise your hand if you know anybody or have a colleague that's been diagnosed or passed away from cancer. Well, now everybody raises their hand. Right. Because, you look at the line of duty desk just for last year alone, where 80% of the line of duty deaths were from occupational cancer that were reported to the IFF. How many departments? We know those numbers are much higher because not every department is represented by the IFF. So those numbers are off the charts, and they've been going up steadily every single year.
I think the cool part that maybe isn't, I don't want to say isn't realized, because obviously you guys have this peer-to-peer, but like sometimes it takes a firefighter to say to another firefighter, like, hey, sit down, shut up, and we're going to deal with this head on. Like, I think that's one of the best ways to go about it. And then also, I feel like, at least for me, and I think I can speak for most of the guys on the podcast, but if you walk into a room full of business professionals, whatever like that, you kind of feel a little bit uncomfortable. What do I have to talk to these people about? But if you walk into a room with firefighters, suddenly you've got 100 new best friends. So having a peer-to-peer that's a firefighter, even if you don't talk about the cancer diagnosis or your treatments or anything like that for 3 weeks that you guys are talking, you're able to kind of offload and download whatever's going on with you to that person, and you can kind of have that dark humor, or you can talk a different way, I guess is what I was trying to say, to a firefighter than you can to like a therapist or something like that. So I think the mental health side of that is enormous outside of the actual cancer side of it.
Oh, 100%. Mental health and cancer go hand in hand. We have a huge mental health problem in the fire service, and you mix that with a cancer diagnosis, and that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, for sure.
And what you said, you hit the nail on the head, Freddie. Because we feel comfortable talking to another firefighter more so than the general public, because we walk the same walk and we talk the same talk. And the bottom line is we're able to have that frank discussion, like you said, sit down, shut up, we're going to get through this. And we can talk to each other like that, and it's accepted, because it's in our culture. And that's where that's why I think our mentorship program is so valuable. At first, a lot of firefighters don't even want. I don't need a mentor. I'm a tough guy. I've put out fires. I've broken down walls and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, you're not you're not as tough as you think you are when you have to push that chemo bag around and try and just get up and walk from the bedroom to the couch. It's like being jet lagged and being hung over times 100 that never goes away.
So with that being said, the mentors that you guys try and pair people with, do you try and have them be regional, or is it I guess what I'm trying to ask is it if somebody in Michigan is diagnosed with cancer, are you going to try and pair them with somebody in Michigan so that there can be like that, I have chemo today, you know what, I'm going to drive down, I'm going to sit through it with you, instead of like, oh, your guy's in Kentucky. Right.
And that's a great point. And our wellness program manager, who manages all of our mentors and trains them, she tries to match them up with people in that area. And believe it or not, that does happen where, hey, I'm going to give you a ride down there. I'm going to hang out with you. We're going to talk. Sometimes that's all that's needed. It's that psychological support that think if you've ever been off, like Matt, when you were off with your injury for a long time, you start feeling disconnected, and you really start going, does anybody care? Does anybody give a crap that my brothers and sisters in the fire service, I'm not hearing from them. And that's a tough thing, and that can put firefighters in a dark place. But again, to your point, Freddie, having someone there in that area, we strive to do that. We have over 200 mentors right now, and we need more. We always need more mentors. So if anybody that's listening to this podcast is a cancer survivor and a firefighter and wants to give back, please go to our website at firefightercancersupport.org and click on the link, I'd like to get involved. We would love to have as many as we possibly can, because let's face it, no firefighter should ever fight alone with cancer. And together we can make a difference.
Yeah. And your website will be in the show notes. And so if you didn't hear that or it went too fast, whatever, go down into the show notes, and the hyperlink will be down there in order for you to access, not just that program, I'm sure, but the whole gamut of what the Firefighter Cancer Support Network provides. But you're 100% right, Scott. Man, I felt disconnected, and it took like 2 seconds, man, and it's made me really aware of when we still have guys that go off. And so it makes me aware, like, how long, I mean, it feels like they've been off for a week, but you're like, they've been off for 2 months. Like, that's crazy. Your life just flies on by. Everybody's busy. Right. And all of a sudden it's been 2 months. You think it's been a week. You're like, man, I need to reach out to this guy. Cause that was invaluable for me. I had so many people reaching out to me all the time. Hey, how you doing? How you hanging in there? This is what's going on and all this stuff. And that really meant a lot to me. And when I got back to the fire station and for my first shift back, I was working with Chip. He was my captain at the time. I was an engineer at the time. And I just looked at the guys, and I almost started crying, because I was like, I missed this. I mean, that's our therapy, right? Like we have a hard time going and seeing the Counseling Team International and the psychologists, because we get a lot of it in the fire cab, and so the fact that the Cancer Support Network, they provide something like that, I think that's brilliant. Whoever came up with that, was a great idea. Great idea.
Yeah, that was Michael DeBron, the gentleman I talked to you about earlier. Great guy. He really had a vision for this thing, and it really took off to what it is today. And like I said, it was just an idea in the LA County Fire Department, and it took off to what it is today, with being in all 50 states. And like he says, he goes, I couldn't even begin to dream that it would get as big as it is. It's a really great program. We're all of us are volunteers, and we're all either working or retired firefighters. Some are cancer survivors, some are not. And it's our way to give back to such a great career that we had.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, I do want to kind of get into that just briefly. I know we're still talking about the Cancer Network and all that. I do want to get into the culture of the fire service and how cancer is viewed, and what people are doing to, caution themselves against cancer. But you were a captain, and I think you were an acting battalion chief at one point for the department. How did that transition? I know that you, towards the end of your career in Laguna, you started to transfer in and started getting the wipes and the buckets for us for decon and all that. And so you were starting to kind of dabble into it. And I think you were, even Jeff Hughes was a captain at a different fire department, kind of, you were doing it with him and stuff. But how was that transition? Did it help you kind of transition into retirement? And this is mostly like, we have kind of the whole gamut as our audience. We have a lot of wannabe firefighters. We have a lot of new firefighters, but I think we also do have some possibly getting ready to retire. And so if this might be something that they look into, I don't know. I'm just kind of curious how your transition was from the fire department to what you're doing now.
So, it's a very good question. I had been doing it actually for about 3 or 4 years before I retired. Right. We wrote the with Jeff Hughes and Kristen Thompson and a few others that were on a committee for the training officers group in Orange County. We wrote a cancer annex that, as a best practices, which is badly needed to be updated now, because the data changes every year. But it's my way of giving back. And when I go teach, I talk about, I said it earlier about knowing your why. What is my why for doing this? My why was Captain Steen Jensen and Captain Ron Rowe. Those were two gentlemen that were good guys that worked for our department, and they both passed away from occupational cancer. And I started looking around and saying, well, why? Why is this happening? And I know, Matt, shocker, I was off on an injury. And, towards the end of my career, it seems like I was always off on an injury.
Sure.
But I started, they asked me if I wanted to be a part of, to go to a gala and to go check out this cancer stuff. And I had no idea. And I educated myself, and I went, oh my God, remember my helmet was black. And all of a sudden I went, oh my God, this is not a badge of honor. This is a badge of cancer. And once I had that awareness piece, I'm like, I got to do something about this. We're going to make a change. And it started off with just getting a little bit involved. And it just so happened that the state director position opened up here in California. And the president, this great guy named Brian Frieders at the time, he said, hey, I want you to be the California state director. And I transitioned to that. And it got to be more and more and more. And it was great. It's been great. I mean, I'm busier now than when I was retired, when I was working. Now that I'm retired, I'm busier than ever. But you know what? It's a good busy. It's a good problem to have because we're helping firefighters on their darkest day. And that's what it's about. It's about giving back. And so others, you know, if I can get one person to change everything they need to do the best practices to reduce the possibility of a cancer diagnosis, I've done my job. And it's so important to me and it's so vital. And we have such great people working for this network. And everybody pitches in, everybody helps out. And it is, and this year for Firefighter Cancer Awareness Month, it has gone viral. It's taken off. Awesome. Every single year, it seems to get better and better. We're getting more and more involvement. You know, you mentioned something, Matt, about, you know, cancer in the fire service. And I think a lot of times when you talk about cancer in the fire service, a lot of firefighters will say, well, I signed up for it. I knew it was going to happen. It's part of the job. It doesn't have to be part of the job. We can take those little steps to protect ourselves. Yeah. We need to take this head on. We need to accept that reality. It's here, it's real, and we need to do something about it. How can we be proactive in that? And we outline that in a lot of different education pieces that we put out nationally. You know, from our Doing It Right white paper to the education piece that we do when we go out and present to departments. I just trained LA Fire Department a couple weeks ago we have what's called a Train the Trainer course where we'll come to you and we'll certify your folks, give them all the tools and materials like I did for you, Freddie, when we did for the Michigan folks. You know, we give you the certification, we give you the materials, and we say, hey, go teach this stuff. We want that awareness piece to be out there. So firefighters need to know, one, the steps to protect themselves, but two, God forbid if you get diagnosed with cancer, where do I turn? Where are the resources for me? Because your workers' comp's not going to tell you where they're at, but we're here, and we'll try and right the ship with you and try and really help you out through your darkest day.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you led right at that, because my question that has been kind of floating around in my mind that I wanted to ask you, Scott, is worst case scenario, somebody gets a cancer diagnosis tomorrow, right? They just get hit with a ton of bricks. What is their first step? How can we help our listeners, whether you got the diagnosis yesterday, last year, what have you? What can we go from A to Z on how you can help, how they get to you? Who do they call? Who do they ask for? What forms?
So the one of the first thing they can do is turn to us. They can call us. We have an 866 number that's on our website at firefightercancersupport.org. There's also a Get Assistance tab on our website where it takes 2 seconds to log in. They apply. It gets sent to that state director. The state director reaches out hopefully within 24 hours. And then we start getting the resources. Our state director will reach out personally by phone, talk to them and say, here's what to expect. These are the resources we have for you. These are the 2 things we can do. And then it all boils down to, as well as, what other resources can I do? Well, the first piece is what Matt said earlier, being your own advocate. You have to be your own advocate with your treatment team. You have to be your own advocate if you're going to pursue workers' compensation, because all of our states in our nation have different workers' compensation laws when it comes to occupational cancer. And then, as well as, if you decide to get represented by an attorney, you know, you need to be your own advocate with that as well. And it's a very difficult thing to navigate, because we don't know where to go. We don't know where to turn. The American Cancer Society has great resources. There is Patient Resource, which is a great vetted website, and it's patientresource.com. They have great pamphlets and information guides out there that are vetted. So you're not going down a WebMD rabbit hole into a ton of information that isn't relevant to what you're going through. It's geared directly for you. There's financial stuff out there on patientresource.com, as well as Shield 23 Foundation, which does fabulous work in Illinois. And they do occasionally assist firefighters, depending on their circumstance, in other states in the event they need financial resources, because they're trying to navigate treatment and not having enough time, in their leave banks, or they're a volunteer firefighter trying to get through that whole treatment plan where you can't work. So there's a number of resources out there. And again, the other resource you need to think about too is behavioral treatment when it comes to occupational cancer. That needs to be hand in hand. We're, in a perfect world, your oncologist and your clinician, your licensed clinician, would work together. Unfortunately, our medical system doesn't really do that, but you can certainly advocate for yourself, seek treatment of peer support, seek treatment through your EP program, seek treatment through whatever works for you, if it's clergy, etc. It's so super, super important that all of that comes together in one piece, so that you're getting the resources and you're getting in the right direction. Super, super important.
Yeah, I have so many directions I want to go, but I want to continue into what the network does to spread your guys' feelers. So, do you hop on planes and fly different places in the country, go to conferences? What does that look like?
Yeah, we do. We have a core group of a management team. There's about 9 of us, and we do go all over the country. We teach at FDIC every single year. We do skin cancer screenings all over the country at these events. We're at all the big conferences. We collaborate again with the IFF at all of their conferences as well. And as well as each state does their own thing as well, where you could be at all the different, like I'll be at CPF, California Professional Firefighters, coming up here soon. I've been teaching up and down the state. In California, we also do skin cancer screenings that we're doing for a number of departments. We've screened over, I think, 2,500 firefighters just in the last 3 years, including your department, Matt. We did yours a couple of years ago. Yeah. And surprisingly enough, we've caught cancer at every one of those screenings. Yeah. We just recently did a health and wellness symposium in California, and we caught cancer there as well. We offered esophageal cancer through the EsoGuard test. We caught a number of skin cancers, as well as a number of other items that firefighters were going through at that symposium. So, early detection is the key to survival, and that's something that we preach hard with this network, about being proactive with our health and wellness. Because let's face it, we're not really good at taking care of ourselves, because we're so geared towards taking care of others. That's in our DNA. And there's one saying that we always say: we're all invincible until we're not.
Right.
Super.
Yeah, it'll never happen to me. It'll never happen to me.
That's the prevailing thought, I think. It's not me.
Yeah.
100%. We're all really good at putting our head in the sand, right?
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's actually daunting how crazy that statement is, because it can actually take your life if you don't get treatment quick enough. But we're going to be at FDIC this year. We've got a booth there with the podcast, and with Tom. He's a New York fireman. He owns Burn Box, who's one of our sponsors, and so we're going to be out there at Indianapolis having fun. So we'll have to we'll find your guys' booth, and I'll have to take a picture with them and text you. Unless you're going to be there. Are you going to FDIC this year?
I'm not sure if I'm going this year or not. I haven't heard. And plus, with the grandbabies coming along, I might be dealing with something else with that time. But we're not sure yet. Yeah, I usually go every year.
Oh, cool. All right. Yeah, we'll be there at the end of April, I think, at Lucas Oil Stadium. Yeah, so that'll be fun. So I'm like overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed by what the network does and how they help people. I mean, it's just like, it's almost like the efficiency too. Everything that you're naming, the different, subjects, if you will, of what you guys do is just like so on point. It's just like from the financial point to the mentorship. And what else I was going to say was, I mean, if you haven't been on work comp before, just navigating that is daunting, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, it could be your pinky finger or your heart attack, whatever it is. I mean, you're trying to get the proper treatment for yourself to get back to work or whatever your end game is. At the same time, you're trying to take care of you and your family. I mean, it's just, there's so much stuff. You try to write everything down and organize it, but I can't imagine getting a cancer diagnosis tomorrow and then having to go through that by myself with my family and talking. And we've all talked to, or probably all of us have talked to a lawyer at some point about an injury that we've had. And they do this every day. So they're like, and I'm like, whoa, Chris, my guy's name was Chris. Can we slow down for a second? Like, I've never done this before. Like, can you reiterate that? I have no idea what you just said. So to have the network, what are you going to say?
I know Chris. I know exactly what you're talking
Chris,
about.
Yeah.
He talks a million miles a minute.
He does. He's just the typical guy that, I remember buying my first house. It's like the mortgage guy is like, I'm like, whoa, dude, I've never done this before. Let's slow down. But yeah, to have the network there to kind of slow things down for you in a sense, is just invaluable. So
one of the things, Matt, I do want to say too is the workers' compensation piece that you touched on. That can be the most difficult thing to navigate, especially because, I mean, you're a captain. I was a captain. How much training do we have in the workers' comp arena when it comes to? We have none. We know a little bit. Yeah, very little. Yeah. I've educated myself more since I've been retired than I did when I was on the job, and so that can be the most difficult piece. The IFF has a fantastic resource for everybody. It's called the IFF Health Presumptive Initiative. You can log in on that and just type that in Google. And it's an interactive map that will definitely explain every type of presumptive law for every state. And it's an interactive map. It's fantastic.
Wow. Yeah, that's a huge resource right there.
So Fred? Matt, real quick, just before you move on. So, Matt, you were talking about how, with your injury and you're talking 1,000 miles a minute and stuff like that. Scott, when you sign up for the Firefighter Cancer Network, do you guys assign a rep or a concierge or a buddy or something to say, hey, this is the first step. You need to contact your workman's comp. After that, we're going to talk about your insurance. Because obviously you get diagnosed with cancer tomorrow, you haven't gone through this, so you don't know the steps. And my assumption is the Firefighter Cancer Network is so well put together and so organized and knowledgeable in this that the ability to guide somebody who's frantically, maybe I think of the analogy of the duck, right? Column on the top, feet underneath are freaking out. Right. So they may be looking at you like, I got diagnosed with blah, blah, blah cancer. How you doing? Doing okay. But, their mind's going, what do I do with this? Like, hey, do you have a will? Hey, did you do this? Did you do this? Do you have somebody that gets assigned to each account that's like, hey, let's make sure all these boxes are checked?
Yes, the way that works is when you go to our website and click I need assistance, the state director that's in your state will reach out to you. And all of our state directors are knowledgeable on the workers' comp stuff. They know, somewhat of it, but we always say, you need to seek representation. It's a personal choice. And that's where we talk about the treatment teams, and do you feel comfortable with your treatment team? Again, with that self-advocacy piece, advocating for yourself with your treatment team, with your workers' comp, if you decide to pursue workers' comp. And if you do decide to pursue workers' comp, this is the law. Like I can talk very I'm very comfortable talking about California presumptive law, but I wouldn't be comfortable talking about, the presumptive law in Michigan, because again, every state's different. But all of our state directors are knowledgeable in that. They really kind of, like I said, they try and right that ship and guide you of, hey, this is what you should do. This is what we recommend you do. The first piece is getting our resources. That other piece is, if you want to pursue workers' comp, great. This is how you do it. This is how workers' comp works in your state. These are what the laws are. We usually tell all of our state directors, I'll text them. I'll say, I'm going to text you a link. I'm going to text you a link to the IFF Health Presumptive Initiative. I'm going to text you a link to Patient Resource. I'm going to flood you with a bunch of information. But it's all good stuff to help you navigate this journey that, because now all of a sudden you're in the club that you never wanted to be in, to begin with. And they really help guide you and steer you in the right way. Then that mentor comes in after that and picks up that piece. And the mentor guides you even further. And the state directors, we encourage our state directors also to follow up with the diagnosed periodically.
Nice.
So
is there a state director in all 50 states?
Not in all 50 states, but we have representation in all 50 states, if that makes sense. I think we're up to like 45 or 46 states right now. But the ones we don't have, we have them taken care of. We do have other representations, such as department liaisons and district representatives in that state. So we're looking for more state directors. So if anybody would like to get involved, please do. We'd love to have you.
Awesome. So we kind of hit, what the Cancer Network does. And I mean, that is amazing. But I wanted to just speak briefly and in a positive light as to the culture of the fire service and cancer. So, we've said this a few times tonight in the last 41 minutes that we've been talking it won't ever happen to me, or we're invincible until it happens to me, and that's like a true thing. You just don't think it's going to happen to you. 1.2 million firefighters out there. And, there's still a lot of people being diagnosed with cancer, more and more, like you said, every day. But it doesn't, it doesn't hit you so hard until it's like, bam, diagnosis, bud. Like, how does that feel? Like, bam, like that's not good. And so what I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit is just what you've seen. And it's tough. I know that you see people more of when they've already been diagnosed, right? I mean, you're going to get the call from the guy that's like, hey, Cap, I got diagnosed. Like, what do I do next? But as far as as the cultures go, like you're going out and you're doing education or you're doing screenings and stuff like that, do you see a lot of participation amongst the fire departments? And I know you really just see California. But do you kind of get where I'm going with this? I know that the culture changed from the badge of honor with the dark black helmet and the soot coming out of your nose for a week, and people are like, I ran fire, and that's all great. We're not here to say we don't want to run fires, people. Like, we love running fires. That's what we signed up to do. That's what we're trained to do. Like, let the dog loose. Let's go. But there's ways to go about being on a fire scene and that is safer than what we used to do. And by we, I mean you, Scott, because you're old. One of the old guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I am.
And so, but it's guys like you that are going up and down the state of California, other state directors that are going throughout their state and saying, guys, like having the soot in the nose and not wiping yourself off and not deconning and not bagging up your stuff and having 2 pairs of usable turnouts it's not a good thing if we're not checking those boxes. What have you seen as far as the culture in like participation and such?
So when we go out and teach, we teach on this document right here. It's called the Doing It Right paper. And that is a white paper that goes over everything that we should be looking at to reduce cancer in the fire service. So when I go out and teach, you get the young guys and gals will look at me and their eyes will get really big. They're like, I had no idea. Like I teach at Santa Ana's Fire Academy every year. And I do a cancer class for them, and a lot of them have no idea about the occupational cancer problem that is so prevalent. When I go teach to other departments, we all have modifiable risk factors, right? We have risk factors for cancer. Some are modifiable, some aren't. Such as age and genetics, you're screwed.
Right.
But there's steps that we can behaviors that we can modify to reduce the possibility of a cancer diagnosis. Things like don't drink too much. Reduce your alcohol. That one they usually say, okay, yeah, you can leave now. Because we do drink a little bit too much in the fire service. We can all agree on that, right? But little things that we can do, little behavior changes, such as not using tobacco products at all, anything, including Zins. Zins are going to be our next health crisis. Zins are a big problem in the fire service. They're synthetic. I always say, would the tobacco companies ever lie to us? Come on.
Right.
But being proactive about our health and wellness, and it just boils down to, and I've said it so many times, but it boils down to your personal choice of what changes you want to make. Use sunscreen daily. Simple things we can do. Wear your breathing apparatus from the start of suppression through overhaul. There's a doctor in Boston named Michael Hamrock. He's one of our health wellness education our health wellness advisory folks that sit on our board and guide us with the proper stuff. And he says it perfectly. If you smell smoke, you're being exposed. If you smell smoke, you smell cancer. And that is what you need to have in the back of your mind. Not telling you not to be an aggressive firefighter. We want to go fight fire aggressively. We want to go after it. We want to mitigate the emergency. But I'm telling you, we need to do it a little bit differently. We need to be a safe, aggressive firefighter. Do we have to be in that smoke for that particular time? We're an inherently dangerous profession. We're gonna be exposed, but we can take the steps to protect ourselves. We can use our diesel capture systems correctly. Diesel exhaust is a Group 1 carcinogen. We need to think about using that stuff in the correct way. We need to think about doing our preliminary exposure reduction, washing off soap and water after we've been exposed on air, so we're not getting secondarily exposed through off-gassing PPE. Mm-hmm. We need to use wet wipes off every area of exposed skin. But it boils down to an accountability piece. And Matt, you're going to get a chuckle because for those that don't know us, Matt and I worked together at the Laguna Beach Fire Department. He was my firefighter. In fact, I got some great pictures of Matt if you guys need them.
We do.
I'll send them to you, Freddie.
I would love this.
And then monitor the social media account for fun alterations.
Yeah, right.
My last firefighter, my last fire before I retired. We all have muscle memory, and we go back to the way we were trained. Right here, it was just a mess of a fire. A big trash truck on fire, dumped it all over Pacific Coast Highway. It was a mess. We overhauled this stuff, put it out, and here I am. What am I doing? I was our cancer guy. I'm putting my BA back into the cab of the apparatus, right back into the company officer seat. Was it clean? No. Was I clean? No. And I got my rookie firefighter tapping me on the shoulder, holding wipes, going, "Hey, Cap, shouldn't we do that decon thing?" And I just dropped my head. One, I knew I was going to get the tar beat out of me by coworkers, right? By all my colleagues. And rightly so. I was humbled. But you know what? That rookie firefighter did the right thing because it's about accountability. And it doesn't matter what rank you are, from a chief officer all the way down to a firefighter on probation. We all have that leadership piece. We need to lead by example, and we need to hold each other accountable when it comes to all these little things we can do. Clean gear, clean air, clean cab, simple things to keep this stuff off of us. Shower within the hour, right? Wash our gear through an extractor and following NFPA 1851 or the new NFPA regulations when it comes to cleaning our gear. Or if you have an outside provider that comes in and cleans it for you. Bagging your gear, like Matt said, bagging your gear so it's not inside the cab off-gassing, because that's a secondary exposure. We all know when we come in the station after, our first shift, you smell it, right? You can smell it. Oh, they had a burner last night. Well, are you deconning the rig? Are you cleaning out everything? Are you making sure that you're not being exposed? Remember, if you smell smoke, you smell cancer, you're being exposed. So it's all about those little things that we can do to protect ourselves. Little simple steps that really don't cost anything. What about food on the stove? Is food on the stove a big deal? Do we downshift on that? Let's be honest, do we wear a breathing apparatus for food in the stove, light, hazy smoke?
No.
No, I didn't either.
No.
But
Yeah.
what's burning that? Well, what's the biggest chemical we're all concerned about right now in the fire service? It's a big
Plastic.
topic. Right, PFAS too, right?
Yeah,
PFAS in our
yeah.
turnouts. What's burning in that pot?
Mm-hmm.
Nine times out of 10, it's Teflon, right? What's Teflon?
Cancer.
You know, it's PFAS. It's a forever
Right.
chemical. So we take the pot of beans, we put it outside, we put our blowers in the door, we air the thing out, right?
Mm.
And then we go about our day, back on the rig, and all of a sudden, an hour later, you got a headache. I don't feel so well. I feel a little mild flu symptom. You know what that is? That's polymer fume fever. You've been exposed to burning Teflon. You might get away with it 20, 30 times, but over the length of a career, we all have IDLH. We all know what that is. But there's all this EDLH that's trying to kill us, eventually dangerous to life and health. It's not wearing your breathing apparatus. It's not doing your decon. It's not showering once in the hour. It's not getting this stuff off you. It's not cleaning out the cab of the apparatus, or not bringing in contaminated, dirty equipment into the cab of the apparatus after a fire. These little simple steps can have a multiplying healthy effect on us if we just pay attention and we just do those little steps that we can take to protect ourselves. Because they'll spoil out. We want to get 30 years in our firehouse to get 30 plus years in our beach house, right? It's all about making the retirement happy and healthy, because your family wants you here. And you know what? Your brothers and sisters in the fire service want you here as well.
Yeah. Great pointers. Scott, you're literally speaking our language here. I mean, yeah, the podcast, we talk a lot about leadership and culture and what it means to us. And you know, like we're not here to reinvent the wheel. Like, we're just here to continue a great conversation. There's been men and women in the fire service well before we were here, and they all dealt with this and dealt with the hardships of whatever the fire service brings. So we're just here to kind of continue that conversation. But what you talked about the probationary firefighter having the courage, we've done a full entire podcast episode of whether or not it's okay for a probationary firefighter to be like, hey, Cap, this just doesn't look right. You know, like, it could be anything, cutting into a car on a TC cut and rescue, or a fire, or even a medical aid, right? You know, we lose situational awareness for 2 seconds, and all of a sudden somebody's coming at us from behind, and the guy, we don't want them to be so afraid that they can't say a thing, and go shut up, Proby, and go stay in the corner. You know what I mean? Like, it just shouldn't be that way. And I really appreciate that comment that you made, and sharing that story of that that guy that came and tapped you and said, hey, shouldn't we do this? Because it's the right thing to do. And we're not here, again, to change culture. We're here to be a part of it and be a part of the good culture. And I'll raise my hand, like, I'm not perfect on a fire. We've had a couple of vehicle fires recently, a structure fire. And it's just, you're in it, you get it done, you overhaul it, and you're like, all right, what's next? Food, I'm starving. But the next thought should be like, where are the wipes? Okay, we're not done yet. Like, we need to decon. We need to figure this stuff out before we hit the pizza.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And so we're getting to a point here. I know I tried to bring up culture, and all those were great points. And we're not here to tell anybody what to do, but great pointers,
But
Scott,
do it.
and we appreciate you. So one of the things that we try to do every year. This is our third year doing the podcast, and this will be episode 144. And we like to do a fundraiser. So the first year we met Jillian Crane. She's the CEO. I'm not exactly her title, but like CEO, president of the First Responders Children's Foundation. She started in New York after 9/11, and we raised, I want to say it was like $500, I think. Through Taylor's Tins. Yeah, $530. It was kind of measly. We hadn't been around for a little while. And so we raised money for her, and she was just amazing. She was on one of our earlier podcasts. And then the second time we did a virtual Fill the Boot, which turned out really cool. We did it for the American Red Cross. And we held it on TikTok, and we had people coming in, and people were literally just filling the boot through TikTok, and we raised about $2,200 for the American Red Cross. And so we were like, okay, this is cool. But of course, all of us have full-time jobs. Some of us have second, third jobs with 3 kids, and it's busy. So we haven't gotten to a third, but we are itching. I'm itching to put together another one. And I mean, I don't know. I don't speak for everybody, but I'm seeing Unky kind of lifting his head up and down. We'd love to do a collaboration with the fire. I know. Freddie even said we need to give money to these guys, and so we'd love to do what this next Fill the Boot. Not sure when it's going to be. Hopefully, sometime February, maybe March. But I will reach out to you, and we'd love to do a collaboration and figure out how we write that check to the Firefighter Cancer Support Network.
We would love that. That is literally how we survive, is through donations and grants.
Love it. Yep. And this episode hopefully will resonate through people, and we'll have a way that we can donate and do all that great stuff. I want to do some quick snail mail.
It's snail mail time.
All right, so snail mail, Scott, I kind of briefed you a little bit about it through our text messages. We like to engage our community. We have a rad, really awesome community of people that listen to us religiously, and then new people that are just kind of passing through. Snail mail is just a great way to engage with our community at the Cool Fireman podcast. And so I told you, Scott, that I didn't tell these guys that I went back to the Tanya Herbert clip where she was talking about, she asked us a question. She said, do you know which position has the most
I love this
PFAS?
stat.
Yeah.
Was it
the
PFAS?
most exposed or the highest rate? Or
The
Oh my
most
gosh,
exposed
I had it.
position.
Yeah.
Hold on, I got to figure this because I just had it. PAH levels. That's what it was. PAH levels. So which position after a fire has the highest PAH levels on their skin? And the answer, to everybody's surprise, I mean, we kind of guessed because she asked the question, but it's the engineer, the guy that doesn't even go in the house. And so Tanya briefly had mentioned that, that if once we put full turnouts, full PPE on the engineers and they're breathing air, they had the most drastic reduction in PAH levels. And I mean, makes sense, right? We got a lot of interesting comments on social media about how are we going to do that and how are we going to, that's totally bogus and all this stuff, which is all great. And all the comments, they just push our reach out a little bit and spread awareness to the people that kind of understand where we're trying to go. Now, you were an engineer at one point, Scott. The viability of probability of having a full mask and breathing air while pumping an engine on a fire, probably, I mean, that would be pretty tough. But it's just recognizing that if we were to do that, and if we can figure out a way to do that safely, that it would reduce our cancer, our risk factors for cancer on a fire ground.
100%. That was proven scientifically by Dr. Jeff Burgess, who's leading the Firefighter Cancer Cohort Study.
Don't you bring science into this.
Interesting enough, if you look at the Tucson Fire Department, their engineers are wearing either they're breathing air while they're pumping fire, or they have a big respirator on.
Some kind of respirator.
They're fully, and something I never thought I'd see that ever in the fire service. And the first time I saw that, I'm like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
I think you're going to get comments like that where they're going to, because it's thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
But they're doing the right thing. And that's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The blowhards don't want to hear about science.
Yeah. You got bravados.
Yeah. But that's okay.
They're the badasses until they're pushing that chemo bag like you were talking about.
Right.
100%. 100%.
Well, so our first one was a guy. I don't have the names. That's fine. But the comment was, we killed ourselves during overhaul. We didn't wear any type of face cover. Mm-hmm. And so out of hundreds of comments, I sifted through the best ones I could, but that had some sort of kind of category. And you remember, Scott, I mean, back in the day running structure fires, and okay, fire's out. Everybody, your regulator pops off, your mask comes off, and now we're just sifting through with a rubbish hook. And I mean, that couldn't be probably is worse than the actual being in the fire, putting it out.
100% worse. That is the absolute worst time to ditch your SCBA. We should, like I said, we should be on air from fire suppression through overhaul. The other piece you think about too, what about the arson investigators that are doing a dig out?
100%.
They're getting so exposed. And I can tell you, teaching up and down the state, there's some of these people who are doing dig outs. They don't have anything other than a set of overalls and an N95 mask, and they're more exposed than all of us. We get in there, knock down the fire, we get out.
Right.
So 100%. Yeah, we're getting exposed on a huge level.
Yeah. Next guy says this would be a culture shock. So they're obviously talking about this clip with Tanya, but stats prove it to be worth it. Facts should minimize the hecklers. So there you go.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody that is thinking outside the box with us. It might be on our
facts
team.
aren't fair.
Facts aren't fair. Yeah, exactly. Then you kind of go the other direction, right? The pendulum always swings because there's always a law of averages, right? This is never going to happen. Sorry. And God, is this embarrassing, right? So we kind of deal with that kind of culture too, right? And then the next one is warriors. Some big department. So this is kind of an interesting thing. And I thought I had to kind of scratch my head, Scott, about what Laguna does. But it says some big departments have the exhaust on the opposite side of the panel. I know FDNY does. And so do we. At Laguna, we do too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, where's the Plymo vent go? Oh, yeah, it's on the other side.
Yep.
So that's just something to think about. And I'll throw in this too. There was one that I didn't copy and paste onto here, but I'll paraphrase it. Is they talk about the EMS folks, with every fire, we dispatch an ambulance, and that ambulance is for firefighters. If we find that we have victims, then we'll order 2, 3, 4, however many more ambulances. But these EMS folks are coming up, and where are they standing? They might be standing next to their rig with their exhaust charging. So it's just something to be cognizant of, when you're in a training scenario and you're talking about, hey, EMS guys, what are you doing? Well, I'm pulling the gurney out and put all my gear. But where are you standing? Let's be cognizant of that.
How about on a TC when engines are blocking the scene, and do the engineers ever think about not having the exhaust pointed right on our first responders?
Mm-hmm.
These are little things. That's
right.
Diesel causes a number of different cancers.
Yeah. And again, like you said, this is nitty gritty. This is like little things that we can try to improve on. Is it always going to happen? No. Do we run on small streets sometimes? I mean, it depends on where your jurisdiction is, and you have no option but to put the rig right here so we don't get plowed by somebody that's not paying attention. Right. We all get that. Right. And then the last one, I didn't want to end on this one. I'm going to just end there because this was a negative one too. I don't want to read it. So anyways, guys, Scott, it's been over an hour. I mean, amazing information. I told the guys before, I'm super excited about this because not only does it tie in perfectly with January, with the Cancer Awareness Month, your guys' organization's amazing. We're going to try to come up with a fundraiser, and it'll probably be a fill the boot through somehow, some way, when we find a second to organize it. But I'll let you know. And I really appreciate you taking that hour out of your time. You got a busy schedule. You already, I'll volunteer your time a lot. So we really appreciate you. Is there anything else that you guys want to ask before we let Scott go?
Do we want to do a turnout or no?
I wanted to keep my mouth shut and listen.
I think we're okay for now. We're okay without the turnout.
Okay.
You good with that? You all right with that? It's already been over an hour.
Well, I don't care. I'm asking.
Okay. Yeah, right. Well, sometimes we do a turnout drill with ask questions. But where was I going? Oh, yeah. So nobody's got a question. Okay, we're good. Awesome. Scott, amazing. Again, if you just want to run down, I know you guys have socials and you have the website. What's the best way to get in contact with the Firefighter Cancer Support Network?
They can get right off our website, firefightercancersupport.org. They can reach out, even if they have a question about fire prevention training. Again, we do it free. Everything we do is free of charge. Or if they've been diagnosed, they can reach out to us. And then we also have on our website, there is an 866 number they can reach out to us. Okay.
and follow the Firefighter Cancer Support Network on TikTok and Instagram.
And Facebook.
Facebook. So yeah, just put it in the search. I can give you the exact one, but people are going to forget. But we'll put it in the show notes as well.
Matt, did you brief Scott on how to end
pages.
it?
Oh, I did not. Well, I'm sorry. What was that again, Scott?
We have a number of Facebook pages, individual state pages, as well as our main page, which is just Firefighter Cancer Support Network.
Yeah, I saw that on Instagram. It's FCSN _, and then there's a national, there's a California, there's all the different states have their own.
Yep.
Huh? Very cool.
Instagram, we only have about 4. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, usually or every time when we roll out of the podcast, we say roll it Gigi. So Freddie's daughter's name is Gigi, and if you listen to the very end of the podcast, it's her voice talking about how go to the socials and follow us and help us. So we'll let you say roll it Gigi.
Roll it Gigi.
Roll it, Gigi.
Before you leave, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give these firemen a huge thumbs up. Also, make sure you check out thecoolfireman.com for more. Thanks!